Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do us a favor, hit the bell for notifications, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course participate in the conversation by commenting below and of course upvoting the video itself. I am here in this weekly spot with Tom Vanderford. We're going to talk a little bit of Ole Miss sports today like we do every Friday. How are you doing, Tom?
Doing great, man.
Man, Ole Miss and Auburn this weekend. Auburn, Ole Miss, let's just say that they've had Ole Miss's number over the year. Even when Ole Miss has had a better team, a lot of times they ended up losing the game. And my whole thing is, remember, you're playing against a bottom third SEC team here. Play against them and not the logo on the side of the helmet. Because sometimes with them and Alabama, for some reason, they've got voodoo over Ole Miss.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I and you've probably seen this too. And I don't know if it's true. I didn't fact check it, but supposedly the last three times that Ole Miss has beat Auburn in Oxford, the coach has been fired. So Auburn's coach. So I hope that we send another one packing Saturday. So tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to the game. I want to see our defense stop their run game. I think they're pretty much one-dimensional, but they also, just as Coach Kiffin's mentioned this week, they have got to keep Ashford under control. He's a very good scrambler, so they've got to make sure that we've got a spy on him. And, of course, we've got in my opinion, the perfect defense to have a spy. We have, three really good safeties that we could use any of those three at any time. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see us stop their run game, force Ashford to beat us in the air. And on the flip side, I know Auburn's got a good defense. I want to see us run the ball against Auburn. I think we need to be able to run the ball, and we need to be able to throw the ball too. I went back and watched the Vandy game, and the second half, it appeared to me, I may be wrong, but it appeared to me like a light went on in Jackson Dart's head, and he looked a whole lot like the guy we had last year in the second half against Vandy. That was really good to see. That was something that I expected would come as the year progressed. And I'd like to see that continue as well. I like how we've had three different receivers now that have hit the 100-yard mark this year in a game. And I would really love for our slot that's not been feeling well, Jalen Robinson, to be the fourth one this Saturday.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit gimpy at the moment with another hamstring issue.
Oh,
but
goodness.
I think that could come, but Jordan Watkins, who had one of the 100-yard games against Vanderbilt, I think he is going to continue to improve in that position as he's becoming a go-to to Jackson Dart, which is going to really help that pass game, especially with Michael Trigg not necessarily being out there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Michael Trigg is intriguing. He's got all the tools, but he caught some passes this year, a few, and made some good catches and made some good runs. But I am interested to see the true freshman, Kyron Heath. I'm interested to see what he can do. We know what Kelly can do. Kelly's going to be a good blocker. Kelly's going to be a good possession type tight end. But I think Heath may be a field stretching tight end as well. And that always helps in Lane's system.
Yeah, he does a good job of finding out how to use those guys, especially with the tight end position. I think the problem is I don't know where Kyron Heath is in run blocking because Michael Trigg was even struggling in run blocking.
Yeah, Michael Trigg struggled greatly in run blocking, and Heath is one of those hybrid tight ends. He's not very bulky, so he's probably going to struggle too. So that's something that we need to look at Saturday as well. If he gets a certain amount of reps. I mean, I know Kelly's going to get most of them, or I assume he will. And but we've just got so many weapons. So and Auburn's got a good defense, but Georgia put 38 on them. So and I'll be honest with you, I think our offense is good as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing us try to dominate an SEC opponent like we did in the second half with Vandy. I'd like to see that the whole game Saturday. That would be what I would like to see.
Oh, did you see the paint job that the field's gotten? They're working on right now with like the
Oh,
American flag themed end zones.
yeah, it's going to be sharp. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Veterans Day. Hey, happy Veterans Day Saturday for you and me both.
Hey, is that in October this year?
Well, no, I mean, it's just Veterans. It's always in November, but it's Veterans Day Saturday for our Veterans Appreciation Day for the game Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew they moved it up, and I think that is because normally it's right around where that Alabama game would be. But I think they got plans uniform-wise for that Alabama game. And they're not going to do veterans things.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I think that they get that out of the way with Auburn. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this weekend. I think that we should be pleasantly surprised with the outcome. Other than that, I just, glad to see that we're recruiting well. Mm-hmm. We've got plenty of good visitors coming in Saturday. So it's good to see that consistency finally in year 3 with no COVID and no reductions and this and that and the other in year 3 of the Lane Kiffin era.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, before we do our prediction and everything, I've talked about this for a couple of shows now. So if you guys are listening to this, I apologize if you've heard it before, but Tom might not have. I think we are about sometime in the next 15 days. That'll include the next 3 games. I think Ole Miss is going to come out in 20 personnel. They've been a 10 personnel team or an 11 personnel team all the way through, which would be 1 back and 1 tight end, or 10 personnel of 1 back and no tight ends. I think 20 personnel and getting Quinshon Judkins and Zach Evans on the field at the same time. If Ulysses Bentley is back, I think that's something we need to keep an eye on moving forward, especially getting ready as a package before Alabama.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm sure Lane's going to have some stuff up his sleeve for Alabama. And to be honest with you, I think we'll fare well in Baton Rouge and College Station as well. That's just my opinion, of course. Of course, this is a Perspectives podcast. So, but I really think that if this team plays to its ability, there's a good chance that we could go into that Alabama game 9-0.
Yeah, I think that's the goal. And depending on what happens this weekend, that's the reason when I released things on social media today, I talked about it's like Ole Miss fans need Tennessee to win this game. And this isn't because they're going to lose to Alabama. I'm saying if they beat Alabama, this will be a 2-game swing for them potentially. And that just means they have to beat one or Arkansas, and they're going to Atlanta. They need Tennessee to win this football game.
Oh, I completely agree. Mm-hmm. I completely agree that Ole Miss needs Tennessee to win this football game. And to be completely honest with you, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if another SEC West team beat Alabama this year.
Yeah, are you talking about down the road?
Yeah, why not? That's good. I'm good with that.
That Egg Bowl, Thanksgiving night, everybody's going to talk about the NFL game. That Egg Bowl has a chance to be premier. It just does.
It does. Both teams are on a trajectory to go to a, New Year's Six bowl game right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that very well could be. You never know, but if everything slides right, I think State's got a puncher's chance against Georgia. It's at home. I think they've got a puncher's chance against Georgia. So
Mike Leach has played Georgia before, so he's played Kirby Smart and did that. He was in year one when everybody was kind of, I think Mississippi State went 6-6 that year, or 5-5, or whatever it was at that time. No, it was like 3-7 they went.
Yeah,
but they went.
Yeah,
they went to Georgia, and Kirby Smart came out and played his man-free defense or his two-man stuff. And Mike Leach, when he sees man coverage, will eat you up, absolutely destroy you. Georgia ended up giving up like 31 points, I think, to Mississippi State that night. And if Mississippi State had a defense to go with it,
with a freshman quarterback and a freshman receiver.
Yeah,
and so and that's the thing about Leach. You've got to appreciate what he's doing. Now, what scares me about State this year, and I'm not trying to get off on a tangent, but they've started running the ball, and basically he's given Will Rogers the okay that if he goes up there, he sees 5 in the box with those big splits that they have, they're just running the ball.
Yeah,
so
you don't play drop 8 if they're going to run the ball on you.
Exactly. Well, exactly. And that's why I'm glad we've got Chris Partridge, because if you watch the State A&M game, our old coach never got out of the 3-2-6. He was getting slaughtered, and he never got out of the 3-2-6.
Yeah.
And I think our coach, and he never blitzed or anything really. He was just. It amazed me that Durkin didn't do something. But when you go back and look at the games last year, he was a lot more conservative. But see, Partridge isn't that way. He'll throw something at you. He'll look. He'll do strange things. He'll do things off the cuff. And I'm really glad we've got the guy as our defensive coordinator.
Yeah, it's almost like a 30 or 40% blitz rate with Chris Partridge. Every time you see it, they're sending an extra guy. It might be 3 down linemen, but they're sending 4, whether it's a linebacker or one of the outside box safeties. They're all designed. It's a 4-man pressure or a 5-man pressure, depending on the situation.
Right, and that's something that we have to have going forward, I think.
All right. Real quick before you get out of here, what is your prediction for the day?
Ole Miss 35, Auburn 21.
Okay, everybody's pretty close around that. The line is 14.5, by the way. So you were right on it. Yeah, you're right. You're right on it.
Yeah.
So 35-21. The over/under is at 55 points. So you went with 56. So you just right there at the line. It's like you knew that the line from BetOnline where it was, if you can see it below. But yeah, I went with I think 38-17, 34-17, somewhere around there.
I like that.
I think Ole Miss is going to cover. I don't think Auburn's going to score 20.
I don't either. I really don't. I think if we get out and the game sold out, so there'll be a big crowd. I know it's an 11 a.m. start, but they can turn it on. They proved that during Kentucky. With the 11 a.m. start. I think the crowd's going to be a big deal. I'm hopeful, I'm just dreaming, but how we have former players come and speak to the team and pump up the crowd during the game. I would love to see Laquan Treadwell be that person this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's Corey Peterson.
Corey will work too.
Yeah.
Corey's better. That's the catch, after Tuberville left us, forwent his pine box and left us and went to Auburn.
No. Anyway, get more on your SEC by making Locked On SEC your second listen. Everyday host Chris Gordy and the local experts of Locked On take you across the SEC in 30 minutes. Make Locked On SEC your second listen every day. Locked On SEC. Anyway, Tom, thank you very much for this. Enjoy the football weekend, and we will catch up with you next week, bud.
Yes, sir. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.